So first he so he has Pirat Partsufim the Das Rashash. So he talks about the Partsufim. Then the next one is Chamesh's Partsufim Naranchi HaKololim the Kol Partsuf. So he brings that idea that there are lights. Well, this is really a Kol Tzoma kind of idea. Then he has Partsufim the Ovi. Whoops, something serious went wrong here. Hello?
Yeah.
I don't know what happened there. I just suddenly got some music, rolling through my thing. So then he talks about the Partsufim. He calls them the Partsufi of Naranchi, which is the same thing as I guess all the 5 parts of the 5 Partsufim. They're inside of the 5 Partsufim, and they're the Oros. Then he talked about Partsufim de Ovi, so we have to have an idea of how these actually work. And then there are Partsufim de Orech. Then coming down to the next part, he wants to talk about Ma U Ben, Aniska Besider. Now all of these things are in the major, whenever the Rashash describes something, he uses these terms. So Ma U Ben de Partsufim de Zun. So now he has Ma'aben of the Partsufim. There's a female, male part of Partsufim. Next page. I think this is probably significant in understanding the where it says Zuna Gadolim v'Yaakov and Rachel, where it says that Zuna Gadolim, that Zeranpin is really divided into 2 parts. Or he has his parts of that he calls Zuna Gadolim, and one part of it is I guess Zuna Gadolim. That's the right side. The other side is Yaakov and Rachel. He says that's the left side. One is male, one is female. So he used the word Yaakov and Rachel all the time. So he means Malchus by that. That's what it says. And then it goes into Malchus. Ma'u ben de Mochin. I think that's where we're at right now. I think we're right up above Azuna Gedolim the Yaakov and Rachel. That's where we're at. I think. Yeah, it says, V'hinich b'parts of Zair Anpin kalu m'shtei bechinos the nekroim Zuna Gedolim. So he said, once again, he says, Zair Anpin, he's a parts of, there has 2 parts. One Zuna Gedolim, the Tzad Yamim Shalob. So now we're dividing Zair Anpin, which we normally think of Zair Anpin as 3 lines. So here, according to the Rashash, actually, it's really 2 Partsufim, or 2 Partsufim, together. So he says the parts of this has 2 sides. It has a right side, a male side, and a female side, the Nikra, and he says, Shalom, the Zuna Gedolim is called Zeranpin. But Sad small Shaloch Na'as Dr. Ben, I didn't put that in, is that the Zeranpin is made out of the Vak of Ma, and the other side, which he's going to say is Malchus and Yaakov and Rachel, he says, small Shaloch Na'as Dr. Ben, Nikra Nuk. Okay, so that's in nomenclature. That's a departure, I think, from the way that we normally learn Zah. But he often talks about Zun. So I assume that we mean Zun now. That he really means the right side of the parts of his Zeranpin. Something like that, which is also called Zeranpin. Something like that. The parts of Nuk Klali Kala B'Shtei Bechinas and Nikraim Yaakov and Rachel. So there's the next one is Yaakov and Rachel. We see in the Rashash a lot. That's another phrase for the left side of the parts of the Zuna Gedolim, which is the female part is Malchus. The Tzad Yamin the Nuk, and that's so. Then he goes like this. Now you have the Nuk, which is called Yaakov and Rachel, the right side, and the Asim Malchus the Ma Nikra Yaakov. So now you're splitting up the Nuk into a right side and a left side also. The right side of the Nuk is called Yaakov. So if he says, or if we're saying, the Rab says that during the weekday you have a yichud between Yaakov and Rachel, according to the Rashash, at least the way the Rashash is looking at it, it's like a yichud minei ubei of the right side and the left side of Malchus. So he said, "B'tzad small shaloch ha'na'asim ha'malchus leben nikra Rachel." So this is the right and left side of the Nuk. V'kol echa v'chapartzufa niskarim nechlach af hu l'ma'u ben. So then everything else we see in the Siddur or other places, he says, is divided into a ma'u ben, because that's also that. We call echamer partzim dechaniskar nechlach afkul ma'u ben, ba'ofen sheyeshnan ma'u ben de ma'u ben de ben. And he's going to get into that drawing that we'll see on the next page. He says, Gavarn is bar to call kumas mochim, that is the mochin de rich, and mochin de abba, mochin de ima, Eloin and Mochin de Yasos, Kalulim Mishnei Bechinas Mochin. So he says what? He says the call Kumas Mochin. He says when we're looking now examples, like I said that the bouncing ball is the Mochin. You have to see where the Mochin are coming from, where the Mochin are going, and what the Mochin are composed of. He said Kalulim Mishnei Bechinas Mochin, Mochin de Tzad Hadachar, or Mochin de Tzad and the Keva. So he's going to go through them and say that all of them have a male-female component. So just like he said that everything, actually, when we look at a zun, it has a right and a left side component of the right, and a right and a left side component of the left. If you call Echem is the mochin and niskarim, so every aspect of the mochin that we're talking about, kolol selim shalim. So once just going to go review the concept of the tzelem. Shalom shalom mochim, but selim is the tzadi the tzelem. Hey, bechinas oreth benimim shalom mochim. Hamispashta besoch spheres hazah, which was spread into the spheres hazah. Of a lamed mem, hey ma'oras bekifim demochin. So the lamed mem are the Mekifim, are the Ha'oras of the Mekifim, that's as we know. Ubechinas Hatzadei, the Mochim, Kolulach, Mishlosha, Ubechinas Vispashtim, Bishlosha Kavim. So now here we see, we've got music coming in again. I don't know if that's gotta be me. I don't know where it's coming from. Ubechinas Hatzadei, the Mochim, Kolulach. So now he says, since we divided, we're going into Zair, right? And Zair is supposed to be the left side, or the right side of Zuna Hagadolim. So he said, but now when you look at that, you're going to see that there's a tzelem that is related. He's talking about the right side here, that is related to the tzelem. So the tzelem goes into it, or the tzelem affects it. So now this is where you see in what he calls Zah his pashas in 3 lines. Muhachachma his pasha b'sfiras the kav yamin the hachan, and muhabina his pasha the b'sfiras the kav small baga, muhadas called the b'shnei itrim the chasada the itrim the gavuras and his pasha b'sfiras the kav and soy, which is the line called dati. Then we know this from other places, but now you're fitting it into his system a little differently. He said, "V'hinera b'tzad adachar the kol kuma," that is Abba's Yasa. So you go through this delineation. I'm just going to read it through Nikra Ma. So he said on everything on the right side is always called Ma. B'tzad hanuk the kol kuma that is ima or tavua Nikra beben. So we have now another name is a right side and a left side, like that. So as they spread, they also spread in this very way too. Small bago who bechinas ben, the chesed the das mispash the b'tzad yamin the kav soy is the dati he bechinas ma. So these are excuse me, the gevuras the das. Mispash the b'tzad small, which is the left side of the middle, the kavim soy, dati, heba bechinas ben. So this is the aspect of ben. So this is the left sides are bens, right sides are mas. Okashemach shivim as muach hadas b'chlalo. So you talk about the das in general, you're going to call it, it's going to have within it a ma and a ben. Va'al pi zech v'yotze shal mochin the abba. So according to this, the mochin the abba nikra ma. Because it's on the right side, is Ma'am Tzad Yamim. So this is a nice little translation to explain what it is. It means that it's on the right side, the Ma of Rabba. Small, which is always on the far left, and we're going to see it over there in the drawing. Nikra ben the Ma, wait a minute, and he says, small is called the ben of ma. Now it'd be the left side of ma. Now what's ma? Ma is Abba. A ben sad small the ma Abba. So that is uben, it's a sad small the ma, which is Abba. So he's explaining how his nomenclature works. The right side refers to the first word would refer to the side, which would be the right side or the left side, and the next side refers to the parts of which is the source of where the mochin are coming from. The muach hadazim is pasha bekav emsoin nikra ma'u ben the ma. Ma'u ben, which is the chesadim begavuros, the ma, which is Abba, which is the main parts of. Bal derek zecha b'mochin de ima, so there in this way, in the mochin de ima, shehi b'chinit b'ben, Zair muach ha'chochma mispasha b'kav yamim, so there's a right side of ima, nikra ma de ben, so it's the right side of ima, the parts of ma tzad yamim, the ben is ima. Then we have muach habina mispasha b'kav small, this one is called nikra ben de ben. Ben sad small, so it's on the left side of ben, which is the left parts of which is ima. Muach hadazim is pasha b'kav imsoin nikra ma'u ben de ben. They're called by that name. It's be ma would be the right side. Is called nikra ma'u ben de ben. So it's like that. It's either the right side of the left or the left side of ima, or the left side of ima. And he explains ma'u ben. What's ma'u ben? They're chesadim begavuros, the ben ima. So it's the moach and the parts of that's coming from, and but they're on the left side, which is ima. But derek zecha b'mamash hu shemus amochin the yasas and tevuna. It's exactly the same thing in yasas and tevuna. So Amnam this boyer be'etz chaim is explained over there. The kodem knisis amochin the his pasha b'sel Zair anpen. Now before they come in, we're going to talk about the switch. Na'asa chilaf, there's a switch takes place. Now, the question is that what do you need a switch for? Because, I mean, you're telling me that up in Bina, or up above Zair anpen, we already have an idea of everything is more or less complete. So what do you need to switch it for? The Iyar b'mochin boim beluvashim b'nai, the Abba v'ima, so the mochin come and they're clothed in the night. Moach ha'chachma b'netzach b'moach b'bina b'hod. But you start making a switch. So the bina part, which is in the left side of Abba, now we look at the drawing down below, we'll read it out, and up to the next paragraph we'll look at the drawing. Small the yisod Abba, Nechlaf imuach hachasad the das hamaluvit b'tzad yamin the yisod the ima, which is on the right side of the yisod of ima. But open sha'ata hamochim shahare b'tzad small the Abba, the mochin that were on the side of the left side of Abba. Nimsoim b'tzad yamin the ima, they move over to the right side of ima. Hamochim shahoye b'tzad yamin the ima, nimsoim b'tzad small the Abba, they wind up on the left side of Abba. So in this just 1 second, if we have just a little bit of time, if we look at the bottom of the drawing that's down below, we see that everything on the Abba side now is going to be right-sided, because the first thing he says is everything is ma. We have ma de ma, ma de ma, ma de ben, and ma de ben, which means it's the right side of everything moves over. And on the other side we have the ben de man, the ben de ben, two ben de mas, they don't change, or they do change, but the ben de ma u ben de ma, and then the next one is ben de ben u ben de ben. So we see that what happens is everything now is on the left side. So all the right side is on the right side, even though that it may have a ben associated, they'd be coming from ben, but we're all putting everything on the right side or the left side. I guess that's the shir for today.